Hello, 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 hello. We're going live, baby. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay. Woohoo! Oh, I gotta tuck the shirt in. Here we go. Be all professional. Oh my gosh, I hate when you look at these cameras and you can see like you're lopsided. I'm like, okay, my shirt's like totally discombobulated here. Anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Mary-Anne Gillespie. I'm CEO over at Apple Coaching Consulting, founder of Game Changer Coaching as well, which is our elite hybrid group coaching that we've created as well. So welcome to this session. This session, just like last week's session, which by the way, thank you for the feedback. I loved hearing that last week's open house session was awesome. And if anybody notices, I do have a stain on my pocket, so I'm going to talk like this the whole time. I'm only kidding. I have no idea where that came from, and it just happened within the last 5 minutes, and I do not have time to change. Okay, so I'm not that well prepared. All right, so here's the scoop. What we're going to be, last week was a banging session. We talked about open houses, and thank you to all the kick butt teams who sent me emails or sent me messages saying that they rocked it and they loved it, and all the people that we sent the information out to as well. You guys are amazing. And I also want to give a special shout out to, there was a bunch of people who did some great Google reviews for us based on us. We mean what we say. If somebody asks me for help, I don't put you on my spam list or anything like that. I just send it to you. I'm not one of those people that needs to do that. So let's get rolling. Last week was a great session on open houses. Let's roll into it. We're going to be talking about online leads and relationship building. One of the things that I specialize in quite a bit is lead conversion. And lead conversion is, I like to think that some of my background in studying neurosciences and NLP and how the brain works and how people react to things, I like to think that that's kind of, one of the best benefits that I like to incorporate with online leads. My most frustrating part you'll hear me talk about is that there's building relationships with online leads is not happening. If you understand that that is the number one problem why you're not converting. It's the number one problem, okay? I'm going to give you a comparison today that is totally inappropriate, but will very much allow you the opportunity to see what I'm actually trying to explain. All right, so inappropriate, yes, but appropriate in the context of how you're going to understand it afterwards. You're going to get what I'm talking about crystal clear today. So there's three things. Those of you who know me know that I'm on a pretty interesting NDA with a major company that handles online leads. And so what I get the benefit of doing as a coach is I get to sit in the background and I get to watch what the algorithms are, what's appropriate, what works, what the expectations are, what the expectations aren't. So take note of this. Here's your first big takeaway right now. There are three key areas that you need to be thinking about in lead conversion, online lead conversion especially. The first one we measure is what we refer to as your reach ratio. That is REACH ratio. Reach ratio. I don't care what industry you're in. You could be in the industry of selling crackers, okay? Doesn't matter to me, okay? Whatever it is, or Cheez-Its, because y'all know I like Cheez-Its, all right? So here's the scoop. Your first measurable in online leads, before I tell you exactly how to convert them, is what we refer to as your reach ratio. That is how many of them you're actually reaching. Understand, it's not acceptable. I don't care who you are, what company you work for. It is not acceptable to say that your reach ratio should be under 4%. That just is, that's pure lack of skills, okay? Your reach ratio should be no less than 30 to 40%. If you are not reaching your online leads or your leads coming in, and I'm going to give you an example. If you're in, let's say you're door knocking, okay? Your reach ratio will be how many doors answered. That's it, okay? If that reach ratio in a door knocking session is less than 30 to 40%, don't accept that. Something is wrong with the time or the area that you're door knocking in, okay? So don't accept a lower than normal reach ratio. I'm telling you this sincerely, okay? Reach ratio is very important because a lot of people are lead generating for their businesses, their sales businesses, and their reach ratio is so poor, and they're accepting it. And then they're trying to bleed out the sales results by such a low reach ratio, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Fix your reach ratio at the beginning, okay? So that's the first thing. All right, so the reach ratio is number one. All right, now 30 to 40% reach ratio. Now, if you're doing an open house, let's say, and you're in real estate watching this, your reach ratio would be 100% because you are reaching every single person that walks in the door. Unless you're sitting on the couch taking a little siesta and they're just rolling through the house and you're not seeing them, which Don't lie, people. We all know you've done an open house with a little bit of a hangover before. We all know that. We all know that. Okay, you're not a realtor unless you've had a really rough open house one time. All right, but here's the thing. So, and of course I'm not speaking from experience. But anyway, so an open house would be 100% reach ratio. You're talking to everybody. An online lead, if you're getting 100 leads a week or a month, let's say 100 leads a month, and you're only reaching 30% of them, okay? That's okay. That's a good reach ratio. But if you've got 100 leads coming in a month and your reach ratio is 5%, understand, question it, dig into that. Do not move on to go. Dig into that. Why are you not reaching more? Okay, get it through your head. You need to be reaching more. There's something wrong at the infancy stages if your reach ratio is substantially low. You need to fix it. That's why you need a coach, or you need a mentor, or you need somebody who is nailing a 30 to 40%. So I don't care how many sales somebody does from online leads. If your reach ratio is not 30 to 40%, then there's something wrong happening with your scripting, your introduction. Usually I can watch it. I'm working with a team right now on it, and we're seeing the results already. We see about, when we start coaching in the reach ratio area, we'll see a 20% jump almost instantly. And usually it's because I've listened or heard something. It's kind of what we do, right? So if you're questioning that or you're struggling with it, reach out to me, all right? Hopefully your reach ratio will be 100%. All right, so that's your reach ratio. Your second your ratio you want to measure is your reach ratio to appointment ratio. Okay, now remember, I work for a very big lead company as their coach to one of a team that we're beta testing. Okay, so this is the measurables we use. The reach ratio, 30 to 40%. Your second ratio on lead conversion would be your appointment ratio, and that's from reaches to appointments, okay? You need to be hammering out at least between 30 to 50% in your appointment conversion ratio. Again, if you're reaching 100, and you should be able to convert 30 to 50 of them. If you're doing an open house and 10 people came through, 3 to 5 appointments booked from there. Okay, again, we hear way too many people who are using the excuse saying that there's lack of quality, lack of ability, you know, the leads are terrible. No, 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 no. Do not let go of that. Okay, we're already factoring in between 50 and 70% are going to be crap. Okay, so that still leaves you with 30 to 50% that are going to be excellent. You should be able to book appointments of some sort. If you are not booking appointments, I heard it today, 10 people through an open house, you know what? Their reach ratio was 100%. Their appointment ratio was 10%. I said, what the heck happened? They said, well, you know what? Bunch of neighbors, bunch of looky-loos, bunch of people working with other realtors. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. Let's go into it. And we used a script about assessments. This is going to be an assessment year. And I showed that team member, I said, you need to look at how we can do assessment, get yourself in the door. It doesn't necessarily mean the appointment has to be, like you're in real estate or you're in sales, okay? Let's use the car dealership as an example, okay? Reach ratio, 100%. They reach me, I'm inquiring about a vehicle. If they can't get me in for an appointment, they don't have the skills to get me in there. They just don't. Okay, they may only have the skills which many car dealerships have. That's why we work with a very good one. But many car dealerships have a very limited skill set where if you don't inquire about a very specific car, they don't teach, coach, or train their salespeople how to get me in for an appointment, period. Okay, that's the problem. All right, so again, your reach ratio is the biggest challenge we see in any lead generation right now, in any sales business, real estate or whatnot. Second ratio is going to be your appointment ratio. Again, gut check that. You need to be 30 to 50% at least based on the reaches. And then your final one is what we refer to as the work with ratio. When that appointment is done, are they working with you? Yes or no? Right? That one has to be above 50 to 70. 50 to 70%. An expert, I like to say, would be around the 75% ratio, so it's way higher than that. A minimum kind of like entry-level sales rep would be around the 50% ratio. Again, if you're having appointments, but you do not have a confirmation, we call that a work with ratio. Work with ratio. They have agreed. If I pick up a phone and say, hey, you were just talking to Bob. Bob sells ice to Eskimos. Are you buying ice from Bob? Are you going to work with Bob on that? Yes, you are. Wonderful. Boom. Work with ratio. Okay, those are the 3 areas that are awesome. Okay, so I love those, and that's the 3. Okay, so you're looking at your reach with, your appointment ratio, and your work with ratio. And it's kind of funny because I work with this other team, and they work with another online lead aggregator, and they use the exact same ratios. And it's actually kind of cool to see because when we increase in certain areas, and we hit these milestones with this team, in all their online leads that they're getting, we've hit every milestone. So if you're watching this and you're saying, I call BS on this. I'm telling you, I have an amazing team that I could refer you to that literally is crushing these numbers. And you can see their numbers are going through the roof. It's unbelievable. So when you hit these milestones, it's really important, okay? So here's the thing. As you can see, it follows 3 processes. Any lead conversion, let's get back to the relationship portion, follows 3 processes. The biggest gap that I've seen, though, is, like I said, is at that reach with ratio into the appointment ratio. Now, the reach with to appointments is where the relationships that I'm talking about right now, that's where that occurs. Okay, so I want you, this is where the inappropriate analogy is going to come in. So first, I'm going to disclose that I do apologize if I offend any, no, actually I don't apologize if I offend anybody. I've warned you, so you should get off if you're easily offended. If you're not, stick around. Let me kind of do this here. All right, so let's hypothetically say, all right, I'm going to put this in context of what's happening in sales. All right, remember, you reach a person, but you're not having any luck getting the appointments. Okay, I've listened to enough of this to make this statement of an inappropriate analogy true. I want you to think, and if you're married and you have 18 kids, just think a little bit, not inappropriately, but think about this. There are dating websites out there. There's a million dating websites out there. If you put a profile on there and you've got all sorts of stuff on there, and let's say I am looking at your profile. Okay, so some of you might be like, that'd be great. Some of you might be like, hell no, let's block her. Anyway, so if I'm looking at your online dating profile and I'm like, wow, this like person's amazing. Like they're athletic, they're great, they're whatever, you know, I can put down the list, right? The whole 9 yards. And I'm like, that sounds like a perfect match. And my message to you is, hey, just seeing, you're still single, okay? And the person responds back and says, yeah, I am. And then my next response is, wonderful, because I'm looking to hook up with somebody, but then get married in the next 3 months. I'd like to have some little babies by the end of the year, so like I'd like to like chop on that because time's ticking. So, you know, I got to move on with that. So I kind of want to do all that. I was thinking, though, let's just kind of like meet at a bridal store, though, because like I'm thinking, you know, that's probably where I want to go, and that's what I have. Okay. First of all, if any of you would be like, wow, that sounds like awesome, let's do that. That's my first interaction with you. Then, you know, I'm the crazy person on a dating website that would be like all over that. That's what I'm hearing with this conversion. What's happening, and I'm not even kidding you, what I hear all the time on the phone is you get the reach ratio and then you come on hot. Like you are hot and you are going for it and you are like, let's get that appointment rolling. All right, so that's what I hear often. Okay, and that's the same thing as a dating website. You are, if you're doing that and your first incline is let's get the appointment. Okay, it's one of the 3 things you want to get, but you got to slow down. You need to build a relationship. Think of the dating website. If you build a relationship and you see somebody that you really like and you're like, hey, yo, you know, maybe there's some back and forth. Get to know each other. You don't come in hot. You ask questions, you get to know if the person's crazy or not. You need to do the same thing. Okay, I keep warning everybody about this. If you are on a dating website and somebody comes to you and says to you that they, in the first interaction, that they want to hook up, meet with you because they want to get married, have kids, and literally like they don't care, let's just go. What do you think? What do you think? You are never going to respond to that person. So what makes you think that an online lead, or any lead for that matter, if you go in too hot, too fast, without building a relationship, what makes you think that they're ghosting you? Because what? Because they're not interested in buying your product or service? That's not true at all. It's because you bypass the whole relationship portion. Literally bypassed it because you've been trained and coached to do so. You've been trained and coached to go hard for the appointment by somebody or go hard into the sell. And that's what the challenge is right now. You need to build the relationships with people. You need to pump the brakes just a little bit. I got to make sure I'm on time. You need to pump the brakes a little bit and start asking relationship building questions. Okay, you need to find out and get to know the person on the other end. When we change that with our coaching clients, like I said, we see a 20% increase in reach ratio to appointment ratio like that. You need to coach and train your team, yourself, everybody on what matters. So when I'm getting it, if I have an online lead, it's really quite simple. If I get that online lead on my reach ratio, I get the person, I'm not coming in and sending an email going, hey, yeah, listen, I'm just curious. I noticed that you were looking at houses in Hunt Club neighborhood, and I'm just wondering, I'd love to talk to you about the market in that area. Wait a second, that is no different than the dating analogy that I just said. That's literally like looking at somebody's dating profile and saying, hey, yeah, look, I noticed that, you know what, you like sports, I like sports, so here's the thing. I figure we have a lot in common. Next week, why don't we go away for the weekend, and why don't we go watch the sports together? That'll be a lot of fun. Let's go spend the weekend together. Crazy. People are going to run, okay? They're going to run. And those of you who are saying you're not going to run, you're scaring me a bit. Anyway, so, but maybe it works for you. There's always somebody that's going to work for, I guess. But anyway, the point is that your reach ratio to appointment ratio has a lot to do with the fact that you're not building a relationship. So pump the brakes down a little. If I see somebody online lead, they probably don't know that I have all their information because they may not be digitally savvy, okay? They may not know that I know that they're looking in Hunt Club. We're going to use that as an info. So what am I going to do? I'm going to build a relationship first. The first thing I'm going to be is I'm going to be like, hey, listen, I just want to let you know, I saw that you were looking. We have a great system that shows us where people are looking. It shows, and I'm going to do it by video because I think it's just a little too much to send an email. So I'm going to record a quick video to the online lead. I'm going to be like, hey, my name is Mary-Anne Gillespie. I'm a local real estate agent. We have this great technology that shows us where people are looking at different neighborhoods. It shows you're looking at Hunt Club as a neighborhood. That is a fantastic neighborhood, really awesome. But anyway, the point is most people are just browsing around. So I just wanted to reach out to you, show you that I'm a real person, and I just want to ask you, is there any information or statistics, because I know things are changing all the time, that I could shoot off your way? What questions do you have? I'm just here to help. That's it. Okay, and then I ping out. Okay, then I'll send a text message maybe a day or so later and say, hey, Mary-Anne, just following up, making sure, because sometimes our videos go to spam. Did you end up getting the video I sent you? I will tell you, I get such a good response from that. Ridiculous. And then I still don't go into the crazy dating scenario. Okay, I still take time. If the person says, you know what, I don't really have any questions right now, I say, hey, listen, that is totally okay. Not a lot of people do, but I just want to let you know, did you want to see something really cool? There's a house sale that sold 20% under asking in that area this week. Did you want to see what the house looked like? I'll send you the MLS. And usually I'll start engaging into relationship building stuff, okay? And I'll just basically find ways. I'll be like, look, we have a bunch of really great seminars coming up. Is there anything that you're interested in? And I can put you on the VIP list, okay? And I will still keep in touch with that person, but I have the pretense of this. It takes time to build a relationship. So a lot of people say it takes 6 to 10 touches of asking people for appointments before you get one, and then the ratio is still low. I prefer to think, okay, build the solid relationship with that person. Take your time. There was a team in the office that when I had my office with all the other realtors, there was a team that had ISAs. And let me tell you something. They had daytime, nighttime, and weekend ISAs. And this works because I'll tell you, they were all about relationships. They had big boards. They had relationship building keys everywhere. They knew disc like the back of their hand, and they watched. And they really worked it. And they were like, okay, if this person transitions into the evening and this person calls in, here's all the stuff we know. Dog, family, kids, reason, why, boom, our hypothesis on it. What disc profile are they? They knew how to build relationships. And even though it took longer to turn those relationships, they were ninjas at their reach ratio to appointment ratio. I've never seen numbers so high in my life. So it actually works on the relationship portion. And what you have to remember is that you have to ask yourself the question, am I building those relationships with our leads? Or am I the dating website analogy where I'm going in way too hot, way too fast, going in for the kill, and expecting people to just be like, whoa, think of the context. You are a complete stranger to most of these people, okay? So it's the same thing. If I'm doing an open house and I'm getting 100% reach ratio. If you're getting people into your open house and you're not doing forward and you're not building a relationship with those people, then what ends up happening is you come out and you only get one person, maybe a prospecting match, a search somewhere. There's no relationship there. So build forward at the beginning and build that relationship. There's a card that I'm looking at currently. There's no relationship. I feel like I'm just a transaction to the car salesperson, and I probably am. You know what? When I went there, I was very clear. I'm like, I have no kids. I'm an athlete. I do this. I do that. I'm a business owner, kind of like a shark. Like that's just how I am. And I'm like, and I pulled up in my car, so he saw what my style was. And for the love of God, he kept trying to show me things that would suit a woman with 3 kids. And I was like, okay, seriously, are we not, like, we're not clicking here. Like it's it was a bad date. So anyway, but the point was, is it would, if he just took the time to build a relationship with me, we would have had a way better outcome in the equation. But he was going way too hard at the appointment. And I could tell you right now, I could read you a text right now from him where I took a picture, I saw a vehicle I loved on the road. I was like, that's it. I'm like, that describes what I'm looking for. Took a picture of it, I sent it to him. I'm going to tell you what he said. You're going to shit yourself. This is going to be a real one here, guys. Okay, this is exactly what he sent back. I sent a picture. I fell in love with this, and I'm like, wow, this is like absolutely so fantastic. So anyway, so where is it here? Okay, here it is here. All right. And here we go. So I literally, you can see the picture. There's a car. I sent it over to him, and this is what I said. I said, here's a car. I'm absolutely in love with it. I'd love to build this one. It's like exactly what I'm looking for. And his answer was very much just like, well, let's order the vehicle soon so it's here by the fall. When do you have time to come in for us? Let's build this vehicle. There's no relationship there. Like, there's none. And like, again, by the way, this is not a $2,000 vehicle. This is a very, very beautiful vehicle. There's no relationship. There's no, wow, that's gorgeous. I really love it. What about that really works with you? He's pushing so hard and so fast to just go for the appointment, go for the appointment. He is the dating person. He is the person on the dating website that doesn't get how to build a relationship. There's no loyalty I have to him. I'll go to another dealership that actually takes the time. And if you don't think that's true, I'm telling you as a sales coach that actually is true. So there is no relationship there. All I wanted was a little bit of dialogue from him to say, that's an amazing vehicle. Like, there was nothing. That's an amazing vehicle. Wow, that's going to look great. Holy smokes, how can I help you? What would you like me to do? Would you like me to price that out for you? Nothing, just right in for the kill. So understand that the relationship building portion is what's missing in 99% of your lead conversion right now. Again, going back to the 3 areas, your reach ratio really should be over that 30th percentile thing. Your actual appointment ratio needs to be higher in the 30 to 50 percentile. And then your final one, the work with ratio, should be significantly higher, between 50 and 70%. If you're struggling in those areas, go right back into relationships. If you want to know how, also DISC is a great thing, as well as using Ford to build those relationships. But pumping it down with online leads, mark my words, I keep saying this, I'm looking over my shoulder every day because I'm sure an internet lead company is going to come after me at some point. All the time I'm seeing it. Every type of lead generation that I'm seeing in any sales organization, when you reach people, either your reach ratio is so low and you're okay with that and you're not questioning the script you're using. I'll give you another example. Okay, if you're in sales and you're struggling with the first part, you're like, never even mind the appointment part. I'll agree with you on that, but I'm not even reaching people. Perfect. If you're not reaching people, what do you think is wrong? What do you think is wrong with it? A, your scripting is way off. Again, I guarantee you, you're going in way too much with heat. Your heat is too hot, okay? If you're not providing value and there's no reason, then what is the point? You're not going to get my business, okay? It's about relationships. Remember, you want to get to know the person. You want to have them answer back. You want them to know that the barriers are down. It is more shocking if a salesperson does not try to get you into an appointment, and you build better relationships if you don't do that than you do if you're one of the people who come in with the heat on, okay? So what I'm going to suggest is, if you're struggling with the reach ratio, take a look at your time, record your scripts. If you really are concerned, send them over to me. I'll listen to them, but record your scripts. A great reach ratio and scripting around that is, if I reach out to you and let's say you're an online lead, okay? What if somebody reaches out to you online? First thing you're making a mistake, calling them. Worst thing you can do, okay? If I fill out an online inquiry, mark my words, I don't want you calling me, okay? I would have called you if I had time to talk to you. So respond to me in the direction I came to. So if I send you an online lead, great, send me a response back. 9 times out of 10, though, you're not going to get the person. And why? Take a really good look at what you're emailing them and ask yourself, would that work for you? Be realistic. Most people who go in, okay, same thing as a dating website. Do most people go into a dating website when they're ready to date or when they're starting to play with the waters? Okay, I would assume, okay, I'm not on any dating websites, so don't look for me. Like, don't try to find me. Don't look up, don't look up Betty because, no, I'm kidding. Anyway, so I like to have a little bit of fun here. But the truth is that if you're on a dating website, I keep using it, but it's the best damn comparison. What you have to remember is that, again, it's the initial phases. Right? So take it slow, people. If you're sitting there and somebody comes in as an online lead and the first thing you're doing is you're going in hot and you're trying to figure everything out, remember, just like a dating website, people are there checking out the waters early. They want to sort out the crazy. Okay, and if they're going to 16 different realtor sites or 16 different salespeople sites and they're getting 16 emails back coming in with heat, what are you looking for? I'd like to set up a time. I got a great listing for you. Holy smokes, that's why you're not getting a response. Okay, if I'm door knocking and I'm getting 100 reaches, okay, so I'm getting 100 reaches and I'm only getting 3 people saying that they actually need an appointment, then your scripting's wrong. Here's a great script if you're door knocking. It's an assessment year. What prices do you think that they're going to assess people's houses on? Very simple. Change the script around. Door knock, be like, hey, listen, you know what? My name is Mary-Anne Gillespie. I'm in the area. Just wondering, have you ever considered getting your home evaluated this time of the year with the rates going up and the prices adjusting? Have you thought about that? No, we're not thinking of selling. I understand that, but you do realize this year is an assessment year, right? Yeah, it is. Okay, so what assessed price do you think that they're going to use? The last 2 years where it went up 70% in pricing, or do you think they're going to use the last 90 days? Well, that's a good question. That is a good question. That's why we're going around to the area and we're basically saying we'd love to come in. We'll do a 15-minute home evaluation, walk through quickly, then we'll email you your letter of assessment as an opinion of a realtor in the area. So this way, if anything happens and your assessment comes in way overpriced, you're going to have a time-stamped notification of when the prices have adjusted, what it's worth now. And we're happy to keep it on file so you can call us anytime and get an updated one just in case. And we strongly advise this. As a homeowner, you need to protect your assessment value that we don't know what they're going to do. It's a great idea. If you can't get appointments on that script, then you're not using it effectively, because I'll tell you, it's a logical, brilliant way to get that. Then you get in the door, you meet the people, you build your database, and you ask them, and you do a great job. You don't ask them to list their house. That's scary. That's the crazy dating analogy thing. You get in there, you offer them something great, and then when you blow their minds away with how great you did, you say, hey, listen, you're in my database now. Is there anybody else, friend, family, or anything that you think would really benefit from this too? Now you expand. So you see how your conversions, your reach ratio, your appointment ratio, everything, your work with ratio gets bigger if you pump the brakes and build the relationships. Okay, I'm very big on this. Okay, just monitor those areas and see where you're losing some traction. If you're losing it in the reach ratio, look at your entry point. What are you saying? How are you saying it? Are you the crazy person on the dating website, or are you the person who's all about building great friendships and long-term business, that kind of thing? Because I tell you, I just read you that text message. That is case in point. That is a wonderful sales rep who doesn't have a clue on how to build relationships. He is the guy on the dating website that is like, let's go. I don't have time I don't want to get to know you. I want one thing and one thing only, okay? And that's pretty much all he is. And I don't want to do business with people like that. I want to build businesses that are with people who understand about me so that I don't feel like I'm just a transaction to somebody, okay? So here's the point, guys. I'm going to wrap it all up. I'm going to try to keep doing content that's awesome like this, but remember, reach out to me if you're having problems, okay? Those 3 areas: reach ratio, appointment ratio, work with ratio. 3 key areas. And remember the dating analogy. Okay, there are always people who go way too hot, way too strong, bring way too much heat because you're driving, you want the appointments, you want the clients. I get that. But mark my words, if you're not hitting those targets, pump it down a little, take a look at what you're doing, and then watch. Because I am telling you, relationship building converts at a way higher level, and the reason why you hear such crappy results from some of these companies that are selling leads or telling you to do different things is because they don't understand it yet. They don't understand that we are in a relationship building society, and people are very well aware of when they feel like they're transactional versus relationships. And when people feel like they have a relationship with you, they want to do business with you. That's sales 101. That's like taking you back down to Neanderthal times. Everybody knows that. Name one type of, this is not Glengarry Glen Ross where you pick up a phone and you'll always be closing ABCs. It's not like that. Okay, that was just a movie. All right, so it's about building relationships, and everybody wants to feel like they matter. Everybody wants to feel like you took the time. You weren't just trying to sell them something, and everybody needs something. right? If you're on a website or if you're doing, door knocking or if you're doing lead generation, there's always something of value that you can give somebody, okay? So hopefully you love this. I got to jump. I got a coaching client, and we'll talk to you next week. Bye, everyone.